Hello and welcome to another Outside the Box review. Today we are looking at the Captain America, the First Avenger, Heroic Age Captain America from Hasbro. Before we get too far into this review, I want to make a little disclaimer here. I'm basically ghetto rigging these next few reviews that I'm doing. I am currently in between apartments, and I'm at my sister's place for a while, so I don't really have any of my stuff. I kind of covered this in the last video I did, or the last update. I've since put out the Colossus review that I had on my computer, but this next couple reviews are probably going to be a little crappier looking than normal, or not quite the same looking, and I apologize for it, but it's just I really want to review these figures, so I'm just going to do it this way, and if I need to redo them later, then I will. But these figures just came out the other day, which is a big reason why I wanted to cover them. And I really do think they look awesome. And it doesn't hurt that in preparation for these guys coming out, I went and started reading the Death of Captain America story arc that features this version of Cap, who is actually Bucky, or Winter Soldier, now taking up Captain America's shield. Haven't quite finished reading the whole story arc yet, but I've really enjoyed it so far, which made me want to get this guy. He's also technically from Series 2 of the movie toys, or not really the movie toys, the toys coming out in support of the movie. The first two waves are going to be comic-based, with the exception of, I believe, Red Skull in Wave 2 is a movie figure. I don't think any of the other ones are. But these are a little harder to find right now than the standard Captain America figures, the first wave, the first four. And definitely really cool. But before we get into him, let's look at the worst part of this whole figure. His shield. It is ridiculously huge, ridiculously gigantic. If we bring in the standard Captain America shield from the Wave 1 figure, you can see, I mean, the middle part is pretty much identical looking. They have the button on here. But I really wish they would have just given us one of these, and either not this, or maybe one of these along with this. Because I feel like I'm going to be picking up more Cap figures later if they go on clearance, just to get shields for other figures in this line. But this thing is huge. You can see on the back here it has a clip, and it will rotate. Now, I've heard some people say they think that peg is a stopper for when you have it clipped on his wrist. And that's possible, but my theory is that it's so we could take it with the back of the figure here and peg it in. And he can wear the shield on his back. This figure is never going to stand with that huge thing on his back. But I know Cap does carry the shield like that sometimes, so I'm assuming that might be what they're going for. The shield itself, as I've already pointed out, there's a button in the middle here. And you hit it, and gigantic blades come out. It's funny, because I was actually thinking this, at the scale it is with life-size humans, is actually kind of neat. It is kind of like a cool little throwing star. But for the figure, it's huge. It's almost as tall as he is, so it's completely worthless. Even with a bionic arm, you would not be carrying this around. So, this is going off to the side. Now, Cap, or Bucky, or whatever you want to call him, he also has some other accessories. On here, on the sheath, he has a little knife. It's pretty nice looking. It has a black painted handle. And it slides right back into that little sheath. And the whole belt is rubberized, but it's only attached in the back, which is kind of nice, because I have a feeling this part would break off anyway if they attached it too firmly up here. So it is kind of still flexible. His other accessory is his gun. Now, the gun I have an issue with, because it's just silver plastic. I'm not sure if this is a problem with mine or if it is a across the board issue with these figures. If anybody else has this guy, please let me know. But the gun is really nicely detailed. It's actually kind of a shame it's not painted. I might have to go and do that myself. Unless maybe there's a reason why it's all silver, but I kind of doubt it. He holds the knife as well, but I'm not going to bother pulling that back out to put in his hand. He holds the gun just fine. Now onto the sculpt itself. I really like this sculpt. It is not the exact same sculpt as the earlier comic Cap that we got in this wave. Though they have also released a Marvel Universe version of him. I think it was with the Gigantic Battles scroll. He's really nicely detailed. The paint has a beautiful metallic sheen. There is some slop in it, but it's pretty minimal, especially for the size of the character. It's probably not even something you could pick up too well in this video. There's a lot of slop around these wings up at the top, and a little around his mouth here and his eyes. But the detail is really nice. I really like the color scheme. I like the mix of the metallics with the flat black. I like the nice boots he has on. And as I said before, the belt is really quite nice. All the little pouches, a canteen. It actually holds the two weapons that come with them. Really cool. In the way of articulation, he has a fully ball-jointed head. He can look up only slightly. Actually, he can really only look down slightly, but he does get a good amount of maneuverability out of it. Ball-jointed shoulders. I thought he could rotate the upper arm because it looks like that joint's there, but no. He can bend and swivel at the elbow. He can rotate at the hand. He has a kind of ball joint-ish thing in the middle here. It really only turns side to side. The up and down is pretty minimal. And it's another one of those joints that I kind of wish they had a waist joint instead, because it just messes up his costume as soon as you turn it. The legs are a little interesting, the upper legs here, because it's the same style of joint that the Iron Man figures have, that I'm not a huge fan of, where they can go sideways, but then you'd actually have to turn the upper joint to get them to go forward. Which you can turn it, but this is a bit of a pain in the butt. You also swivel at the upper part of the leg, bend the knee at 2 points, bend the ankle, and swivel the ankle. Overall, I am really happy with this figure. I ended up having to pay a little bit extra, only like $1 extra, because I found him at a Books A Million. From the looks of it, right now, Targets and Walmarts are only stocking Wave 1, which makes sense seeing as though it just came out this week. But this guy is going to be probably on the pegs sometime in the near future. I doubt they'll wait too long, since it seems like stores already have them in their back rooms. But definitely worth picking up. The shield's crap, the gun needs a little bit of paint, but the figure itself is a really nice representation of the heroic age Captain America. And I'm really happy I went and found him. Definitely looking out for that Red Skull from Wave 2. That was my main thing of searching out the Wave 2, honestly. He's the one that I want more than any of the other Wave 2 figures, or even the Wave 1 figures, honestly. But in the meantime, this guy's freaking awesome. And this has been another Outside the Box review. There'll be more to come. Maybe still with this kind of crummy background here. See you later.